Hi, everyone. Laurent, it's so great to be here with you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Laurent, your story, your personal story is so interesting just because obviously you're French and you've been with the company L'Oreal for 26 years, but you spend a considerable amount of time here in Dubai and in the Middle East. Tell us a little bit about your journey to coming here, first in Turkey and now here in Dubai.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm very happy to be here with you today. And hello, good afternoon, everyone. So first, I want to apologize for my voice because I'm a little bit sick, but I didn't want to miss this beautiful event. So you will have to bear with me for a few minutes. But indeed, I started my career 26 years ago at L'Oreal, and I had a lot of different roles in sales, in marketing, development, operational, in HR, different fields around the world. And I managed several regions, so including some regions of Europe, Eastern Europe, Latin America. My role just before here was managing director of Turkey. And actually, my love story with the GCC started a long time ago because actually I came first to the region in 2011. So I stayed for 4 years, and at the time I was heading the consumer product division. So it was a fascinating moments, and I really enjoyed it for 4 years. And then, as I said, I had different roles in between, and then I asked actually to come back, and the group kindly obliged and gave me the opportunity now to manage the whole business of L'Oréal Middle East here in the region, which is established since 1998. We have opened a subsidiary here, so we celebrated our 25 years last year, and which is covering 10 countries of the region here from Dubai.
You've seen a lot of change, obviously, since 2011 to just the last few years. Where do you think you've seen the most change amongst these countries? I mean, you said it's 10 different countries, 10 different types, more than 10 different types of languages and preferences. Where are you surprised by?
Yeah, so we are sitting here in UAE. So of course, UAE has changed, and I would say that it's the same direction, but getting every year better and better. And what has changed here in UAE is that back in 2011, you would have multinationals coming here, sending expats like me, running the region, but that was pretty much it. Of course, there was a lot of trade, a lot of retail, all of this was already here. But I mean, in terms of companies, that was pretty much what was running the show. And what we see now is that more and more startups, more and more people come to Dubai to manage worldwide businesses. And so this is, I think, totally different from 2011. This is something that definitely this country has achieved over the last few years. But I would say the most spectacular change that I saw is Saudi Arabia. What has happened in Saudi Arabia in 15 years is amazing. When I first came to Saudi in 2011, just a few examples. You would be welcomed at the airport by a gentleman from the army. Not very smiley, I have to say, without any criticism. And then you would go to the stores, and basically in Sephora, at the time, it was all males that would, sell the beauty products. And of course, all of this has totally changed. Now the participation of women to the workforce is 40%. It's the highest ever. It's growing very, very fast. And you are welcome at the airport by a lady which is smiling. So the whole experience of the country is just a small anecdote, but is really impressive. And the magnitude of change in the retail scene, in the society, in everything is quite amazing.
Given how much it's changing, what are you currently learning or instilling in the values of your brands based on all of this change? There's so much difference, but there's also a lot of similarities.
Yes. So, actually in the Middle East, everywhere, there are some commonalities. For example, the Middle East ladies, which are our main targets, they are very connected. They are very young, so 70% of the population in the region is below 35, and so it's a pretty young region, very connected, as I was saying, very passionate about beauty. This is really a trait of this region. I don't know if you know, but actually the first lipstick ever found in the world was found in Mesopotamia, currently Iraq, and it's 5,000 years old. And not only that, it was already packaged in a little pot at the time, but there was already a brand on it. So imagine, it was the Maybelline or the whatever you want, Yves Saint Laurent of the time. You know? So this region is all about this. So this is common, but at the same time, you have differences. Because it's true that you have a country like UAE, which is a country where 90% of the population is expat, only 10% are local, and inside these expats, you have a lot of different nationalities, so that creates a certain complexity in terms of marketing, and you have to make choices. And only at L'Oréal, we have 55 nationalities working for us in the office. That's the highest level of diversity in the world. And on the other side, you have Saudi, where you have, on the contrary, mostly a local population. And in this country, well, it's a more, I would say, a bigger middle class. There is a bit more of a price sensitivity. So it's a different profile of consumers compared to UAE. You have Kuwait, where the consumers in Kuwait, they've always been the trendy girls, really looking at everything that's going on in the world, very fashionable. The influencer industry started from Kuwait, actually, and already a long time ago, way before the US or other countries. And you have countries like Qatar, where here it's uber luxury. It's really about VVIP experience, high tickets. So, I mean, these countries, they have a lot of similarities. And at the same time, when you start to put the microscope, you see one by one that they have all specificities. This is what makes it fascinating, actually.
And probably very challenging at the same time.
Yeah, but that's our job, no?
When you think about curating products specifically, I mean, of L'Oréal's 36 brands, I believe 31 of them are in the region, but certain ones resonate more than others. Can you talk a little bit about what's happening and, you know, how you find a go-to-market approach for each of these brands and each of these products?
Yeah, so I would say that, you know, at L'Oréal, we have 37 brands. I think that's the last count because we are buying new ones almost every day. But basically, that's the latest figures. And in the region, we have 31, so we have almost all of them. Basically, you know, it's you have to find the right space for each brand. So at L'Oréal, we have 4 different divisions. We have the mass market, the pharmacy division, the professional division, and the luxury division. And then we carefully, you know, study the consumer habits, what they want, where they purchase, and then we position our portfolio accordingly. And for the product launches, we have in general a dual strategy. So on one side, when you look at the beauty market, you see that with social media, women, as I was saying, in the region, they're very well connected, so they know very quickly what works well, what is launched in the world. And so there are some blockbusters products which are international. And they worked everywhere, including in the GCC. And so here the game is to bring them the fastest way possible, because before, you know, the trend moves to something else. So this is basically, like I would say, the blockbusters. So you have products like micellar water from Garnier, which are super popular. Libre from Yves Saint Laurent is the #1 fragrance in the region, and it's also very popular everywhere in the world. So you have many examples like this of products who work also in the GCC. But you also have specific needs in this region. I'm going to take a few examples. So, for example, fragrance. Fragrance in this region is a whole story. And I see my friend Khaled, who will probably not say the contrary. I mean, just do a little experiment. When you finish, you know, sitting in this room, very black, go take some fresh air, you know. You take metro or taxi and you go to Dubai Mall. Go to Dubai Mall and you walk around, you know, around the alleys. You will cross Emiratis or maybe Saudis or Qataris, I don't know. And what you will notice is that each and every one person you cross, you will have a very different smell and a very different fragrance that will follow the path of the person. Did you notice that? Okay. So now I'm going to tell you the secret. So first, fragrance is really something which is in the region a passion, and some countries have always been very important in the fashion route or from some ingredients. So Oman, for example, is a country very important for some ingredients in fragrances. But what basically the people are doing is that they are mixing fragrances. So most of the locals, men and women, they would put 2 or 3 different fragrances. And by the way, they could put different fragrances according to the layers. But let's say that the easiest way, they would spray them on the clothes, not necessarily on the skin. They might put something different on the skin. And they would create their own identity, fragrance identity. And everyone has to have its own fragrance identity. And this is why you have this sillage, which is very specific every time you meet someone. And so, of course, you can reach that with, let's say, mainstream fragrances. But niche fragrances with very strong ingredients, and very specific ingredients like wood or incense or different Arabic accords will give you more lasting smell, more sillage, and so will enable you really to create your signature. Mm-hmm. So this is why brands like us, we create juices specific for the region. Mm-hmm. Since a very long time, in Armani, in Yves Saint Laurent, now in Lancôme, the last launch, which is with Nacor from the Taif Rose, from the Taif region in Saudi Arabia, etc. So we really localize the products for the region because there is a special taste and a really refined taste for fragrances. Mm-hmm. But that's not all, because at the same time, once you have that, you need to connect with the consumer. And in the region, one of the specificities, you have these big consumption moments which are linked to Ramadan. So we just finished one. It was just 1 month ago, last month. And during this moment, there is a lot of gifting. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of, watching TV, watching social media. And so we develop specific campaigns for these moments with local spokesperson. So, for example, we just developed a campaign for Armani with a fantastic young lady, Gen Z, whose name is Andrea Taif. So this lady, she's very popular. She's a star of some Netflix series. And so we shoot content specifically for her, specifically for this period, that we're going to play only during this period because it's such a big consumption moment. So we have the right products, and at the same time, we connect at very specific moments with very specific language and very specific spokespeople.
How are you thinking about bringing newer brands? Like, Aesop obviously is a brand rooted in fragrance. It's not only fragrance, it's a body care brand. But that was a recent acquisition of L'Oréal's, and that's something newer to the market. So how are you thinking about that and bringing something maybe new, but still has a very deep fragrance background itself?
Sure. Listen, Aesop is an amazing brand. Mm-hmm. And we are very excited to welcome it to the family. So actually, it's not new to the Middle East. It was here before us. But joining the L'Oréal family, the objective is to amplify and to accelerate the development of Aesop in the region. We have very ambitious plans for the brand because we think it really resonates with the consumers in the region, definitely. So we are very excited.
Let's switch gears a little bit. We haven't talked much about cosmetics. Yeah. And obviously there's great tradition and culture here in the GCC around eyes, around lips, complexion, what women show and what they don't show. Tell us a little bit about how you're kind of making those localized approaches, especially when you think about language on packaging and actual products themselves.
Yeah, the second passion of women in this region after fragrance is makeup. I think nobody, people knowing this region will not say different. Just one interesting number, in Saudi Arabia, for example, the average number of products that a woman has is 25. Is using 25 products. That's the highest in the world. So, so there is really a passion for makeup. It's no joke, but there are some very interesting things happening that we learned with some studies. I would say a few years ago there was a trend to try to, let's say, go more towards the Western looks. But what we see for the past few years is that women from the region want to use makeup now to enhance their Arabic features. Mm-hmm. So what are the Arabic features? The eyes, of course. The hair, well, that's not makeup. But you have to think about the 1001 Nights description of the princess. I mean, that's pretty much the standard of beauty. So the eyes, it has to be almond shape. You need to have a very defined jaws, of course the lips, etc., etc. So they will use the products to try to really enhance and beautify these features. And they will use products from multiple brands, by the way. Very few ladies are using only one brand. So they will use the best product possible for the cheeks, for the lips, for the eyes, and they will really try to make something beautiful. And again, if you walk in Dubai Mall, every time I walk in Dubai Mall, I'm absolutely amazed by the quality of the makeup that you see in the region, the sophistication. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else in the world. And this is the day look, because if you go at night, that's again another story. So that's pretty impressive. So I think definitely the love affair with makeup is not changing for the moment.
But you're also creating specific differences. You know, you mentioned to me a moment ago that the way that you speak to, there is not one universal Arabic that, you know, will allow you to speak to all customers, that you have to localize that and specify that in terms of packaging. Otherwise, consumers won't think you're authentic. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's more in social media. So in social media, which is today, I would say, the main marketing leverage that any brand has in beauty, it's very important to be authentic and to be relevant. So, and especially when you are an international brand, it's very important to understand the culture and to speak the right language. So typically in Saudi Arabia, they don't speak the literal Arabic, you know, the one you learn, which is really the common one between all the countries. They have their Saudi dialect. And if you publish content in content in social media which is not using the right wording, they will detect it immediately and discard it. Mm-hmm. That's a guaranteed swap. So it's very important to work with the right influencers, to have the right agencies, the right copywriters that would really understand the culture, not make mistakes, and write in the right way. That will be relevant. So yeah, definitely this is super important to connect. And one example of that is what we've done for Ramadan for another brand, which is Garnier. There is this platform called Shahed. So Shahed is the Netflix of the region. And on Shahed with Garnier, we have developed a show which is called Ramadaniyat. If some of you maybe watched it, but actually it's an entertainment show, but branded, and it's been the #1 show on the platform for the whole Ramadan period. So it shows that when you have the right approach, even if it's branded, but it's relevant, you use the right spokespeople, the right language, you can really connect even for a brand, a very international brand like Garnier.
Thank you so much, Laurent. It was so great having you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.